Trauma matters to juvenile justice. Trauma-informed care in a juvenile justice system doesn't take away the need to address delinquent behavior. It doesn't mean that there won't be those that will be incarcerated in our youth detentional centers. But what it does say is that the services that are offered to them, the way that we handle their cases, will be driven by the understanding that we are looking at an individual who has been traumatized. We say, get over it. We shouldn't say that. We have to recognize as a team that trauma exists. We have to understand its impact. We then have to be educated in how best to deal with each person that walks through the door. We've all been traumatized. I don't believe that there's one person in this world who doesn't have some level of trauma. Some have dealt with it, some have pushed it aside, some don't even realize that they've been traumatized. And so when you start to be understanding and you have an open mind, that's where the learning and the real change begins.
Trauma to me is just a mess, it's chaos, it's just something that's not going right. We have some sexual abused kids, we have some kids that are just neglected at home, kids that are fighting growing up, they just don't want to grow up.
Trauma is really something we encounter almost every day. We see kids who've been abused in their home or just plain neglected in their home. We've seen adults who've had all kinds of things in their past who have not had the therapy to work through it, things like being abused as children themselves. Back in the day, we had kids walk into court and we had people looking at them and saying, what the heck's the matter with you? Why would you do that? What we're doing now is we're having a little bit of an awareness where the question becomes, what happened to you? Instead of putting a kid on his heels and putting him in a defensive posture, you're basically inviting a discussion to see if you can get them to open up a little bit to what's going on. We try to discern what that trauma is and move forward from there.
Most of our kids are coming out of the system, whether it's court-ordered, through probation, or DHHS, where a kid in the foster care system just needs a structured, safe environment. We have a saying around here that TLC is what does it, and TLC for us is time, love, and consistency. Just having an understanding of what a person goes through, or has been through, and be a little bit sympathetic to others' needs, and at the same time still try to get the development that you're trying to get out of a kid.
Trauma-informed care gives our community an opportunity to look at problems a different way. I don't believe that there's one child that on the day of their birth, when they took that first breath, their first thought was, I want to be a gang member. I want to terrorize my community. I want to drop out of school. I want my life to just be a mess. There's not one child that was born thinking that way. Just like there's young people that are born into circumstances that take them into the White House, there are circumstances around young people that take them to the jailhouse.
Trauma-informed care matters because we've seen the improvements that it has brought to our juvenile justice system, and I see a potential for it to grow and to continue accumulating better outcomes for children and families in our system. Let's continue to work on it and move it forward.
What I want from any kid who comes through our door is when they leave our doors that they're in a better position from when they came into our doors. We have a saying here at Mays that we may be the change agents here in these four walls, but ultimately you, young man or young lady, are going to take it outside and teach others.
Trauma-informed care matters to juvenile justice.
Trauma-informed care matters. Our youth depend on it.
You are part of the solution.